Hello and welcome to Trailer Talk with Tyrus. Now I know what you're thinking, Tyrus, why have you not covered any of the previous Superman teasers or any of that stuff leading up to this movie? And I got a couple answers to that. But today, I was pleasantly surprised at how much I loved the official Superman trailer. The reason I haven't talked about anything so far is because honestly, my journey with James Gunn's Superman has been a little difficult. When James Gunn was first announced to be the new head of DC Studios, and he released that video of all the projects that he was going to be doing, it sounded a lot like exactly what I expected James Gunn to do. Like an Authority movie, he was talking about Swamp Thing, and all these other projects. I'm like, just for some context, the Guardians films, I like them, but they were never my favorite. Like, I think they're good, I think they're okay, but they're not movies I want to rewatch over and over and over again. So when I found out that James Gunn was going to be in charge of DC Studios, I was like, well, he definitely seems to know comic books, so that's a good sign, but I really didn't think he was the right person to head up a project like this. And then I found out he was actually going to be writing and directing the new Superman movie. And I was really nervous about that because James Gunn works really well with obscure characters, and oftentimes those obscure characters that he uses aren't 100% comic book accurate. So dealing with a huge IP and an icon like Superman is humongous. And I was really nervous because, like, if you told me that James Gunn was going to be writing and directing a Justice League International film, that would make total sense. And you know what? When I found all the characters that were going to be in this movie, like Guy Gardner, Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, all this stuff, I was like, are you just basically making a Justice League International film and calling it Superman? And that first reveal of the suit, I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. And then, of course, after all that and all the things that have been released and all the leaks that have happened, it's like, I'm not sure this is going to work out. And then there was the first teaser. Well, I should say the teaser for the teaser, where it was just a picture of Superman. There was an ethereal version of the theme, and I was like, "Whoa, that was getting me hype." And then the teaser trailer got released. And you know what? I liked it. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. And then after that, we waited a really long time, and we finally got the sneak peek, and I liked it. I liked the sneak preview. Now, I understand some people didn't like Crypto jumping on soups like that and or whatever. I think it went on just a tad too long, but I did like it. I said this is promising. I liked what I saw of the Fortress. I liked that they had the Superman robots, definitely taking inspiration from All Star Superman there. But you know what? Today it was different. This trailer, I was like, okay, if this trailer does not work, if it doesn't sell me on the film, it's over, because this trailer needed to hit and needed to hit really hard because everything is riding on this movie. They just finished wrapping Supergirl, so that movie will probably be released regardless of what happens with Superman. But I said if this trailer does not go above and beyond, if it does not hit on every level, it's over. DC is done. Like, there's not going to be a new DC movie. I mean, like I said, they probably would release Supergirl because they had finished wrapping filming and all that, but we'd probably only get two DC movies, Superman and Supergirl. And this trailer, it got me. It did everything right. I was smiling from ear to ear. My wife was watching me. I cried. And did you guys know, like, I inherited my Superman fandom from my father. I'm so sad that he's not going to be around to come see this movie. May he rest in peace, of course. So I'm bringing a portrait of him to the theater when I go to see the movie. I really wish he could be here to see this with me, because that trailer just showed me everything I needed to see to go, like, I am locked in. Now let's start on what I like a lot. Was obviously the music was much better in this trailer than all the other previous ones, in my opinion. I loved, if you notice, Clark, when he's having the initial meeting with Lois Lane, having the interview, Clark actually uses a higher pitched voice when he's Clark, and when he changes over to Superman, he's like, Miss Lane. I was like, yes. I was like, perfect. Just like the old radio show where I believe it was Bud Collier who did the voice of Superman. He would speak high in his tenor voice, and then he's like, this looks like a job for Superman. And I was like, definitely channeling that energy. I really love David Cornsweet's portrayal. This sold me. We actually got to see him be large and in charge of Superman in this trailer, which was great. The action scenes seemed so fluid and so exciting and so great. It's hard to judge power scaling. Like, I'm trying to figure out which Superman we're dealing with. As you know, Superman's rich history. There are times when he's been so overpowered, like he could literally like blow out a planet, like just and pull like entire strings of planets on chains. And then there's Superman's like from the Max Fletcher cartoons, where he was like definitely super strong, but not as strong as he would eventually become. And so I still think this is like kind of the perfect medium. I was thinking Superman the animated series power is where I'm thinking, and James Gunn hasn't been silent on where he drew inspiration for this movie. Superman the animated series was definitely an inspiration. Superman for All Seasons, probably my favorite Superman comic book, next to Up in the Sky. And this to me seems like the best power scale for Superman to be for a cinematic movie, especially in today's day and age. And what they're trying to go is like, this Superman, he can be hurt, he can bleed, and you might not even necessarily need kryptonite. And I remember Superman the animated series from the 90s that I grew up with, that's what they were doing too. They're like, if you had a powerful enough force, you could probably kill Superman even without kryptonite, so they could write engaging stories. And I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that, and I liked it. I loved Mom and Pa Kent. I'm glad to see that they were both alive, especially as a fan of the John Byrne Superman comic run, and especially the animated series. I'm so glad that he can go to their farm, get love, encouragement, advice. I was tearing up, man, when when he puts his arm over his father's shoulder after his dad says, the choices you make, the things that you do, your actions, those decide who you really are. I'm just like, oh, this movie's gonna get me. This movie's gonna get me. Oh man, I loved it. This was the most DC trailer I've probably ever seen in there. Guy Gardner with his Green Lantern, like using a boom, like with his big giant green hand. I think Guy looked the best in this trailer above all the other trailers, in my opinion. I thought everything worked well. Lex. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about the Lex Luthor voice in this. Like, I prefer a deeper voice for Lex, personally. I thought, darn, I can't remember his name. The guy who's playing Lex. I'm glad that they picked him. I think it's great casting. But I'm a little unsure of the voice he chose to use for that. But I think it'll work. But I need to see more of it. But I was like, I need to see Lex just being Lex. And when he's drinking that coffee in Superman's face, just going like this, like all casual, like, I was like, that's Lex Luthor right there. That's Lex Luthor right there. We got to see so many things that we've seen before, just in larger context. Like, I love seeing Metamorpho. Superman got hit a lot in this trailer, but he also threw some hands a lot too. I really liked basically everything in the trailer. I've seen it a couple times at this point. I really liked it. As a comic book fan, I think that I'm going to get a lot of things that I never thought I would ever see on the big screen. There was one thing, I have one critique of the trailer though. As much as I loved it, I was locked in. I was like, James Gunn, you got me. All right. Well, I'm on board here. There was just one thing I did not like about the trailer. It's actually the beginning. Superman in the interview with Lois. There's a lot that was done right, but there's one thing that really, really bothered me. And it's that Superman would never lose his cool like that with Lois. He wouldn't stand up and tower over her yelling and stuff like that. Like, that ain't Superman. That's not who Superman is. That's not who he is. Superman, if he was being berated by a reporter, especially Lois, like, and it's clear that they're dating in this. I really hope we don't start the film with her already knowing his secret. I'd like to see that reveal actually happen in the movie. And I'd like to know that it's clear that Lois fell in love with Clark, not Superman. I tend to like it when they write their dynamic that way, where she fell in love with Clark, not Superman, which is why I love Lois and Clark, the show. It's great. It's some of my favorite Superman media ever. I love it. But Superman just wouldn't get all losing his cool like that. He just wouldn't do that. Now with Lex, I get that. Like, with Lex, there's some times when he's lost his cool with Lex. But, like, with Lois, like, he would have calmly said, like, people are going to die, Lois. I had to. Like, that's how he would have done it. But I turned to my wife and I was telling her that's the one thing I didn't like about this trailer, that Superman wouldn't do that. And whenever I'm watching your Superman film and I say, Superman wouldn't do that, it made me a little uneasy, but the rest of the trailer sold me. Now, I get though, when I asked my wife about it, she's like, I actually kind of liked it. And I was like, really? She's like, you have to understand, like, I'm not, as not a huge Superman fan myself, like, I thought that was just really realistic. Like, I mean, you literally stopped a war and you're being berated. Like, I can understand, like, why he would be angry. I also have to understand this is very early in Superman's career. Now, I prefer that when Superman comes on the scene, he's the full-fledged Superman that we all know and love, the true blue Boy Scout. And I'm sure he's going to be that. But seeing moments like that of vulnerability where he actually, like, lost his cool with Lois for a second, I understand how that could be appealing to audience members. It's also more exciting in a movie. I understand that. But it's just, it rubbed me the wrong way. It rubbed me the wrong way real bad. Because I'm just like, no, like, Superman wouldn't do that. And he especially wouldn't stand up when Lois is sitting down. Like, he understands, like, Superman, the key to playing Superman is that he's your friend. Like, that's how he introduced himself in the first movie. He's like, when Lois is like, who are you? And he just goes, a friend. And that's, if you want to know who Superman is, like, that's why his outfit looks like that. That's why he has the underwear on the outside. He looks like a colorful friend. He's a being with immense power that should be terrifying, but because he's friendly, because he understands that he needs to come across as friendly to everyone, because Superman doesn't want anybody to be afraid of him. That's why he doesn't wear a mask. He doesn't want to hide who he is. He wants you to be able to trust him. And Superman, like, understands that. Of course, obviously Superman was not going to hurt Lois in that interview. That obviously wasn't going to happen. And I get it. Like, sometimes when you're talking, and again, they're dating, so I get it. Sometimes when your girl is hounding you or whatever, I get you can lose your cool and then you apologize, but it's just like, I don't know, Superman, he's above that kind of thing. He wouldn't have blown up like that, in my opinion. And I know it sounds like I'm dogging the trailer now. Like, that was the one thing I just didn't like. I was like, yeah, I said, Superman, he's not afraid to argue for his position, but he always does it from a place of peace and calm, very regal-like. And that felt like an argument between, like, him and his girlfriend, which I guess is what it was actually supposed to be. But that's the one thing I didn't like. Everything else I loved. Everything else was great. And you know what? July 11th, I'm going to be seated. And I'm going to be really excited. I just think it's going to be good. Now, I originally thought this could be just mid. Like I said, I hope it's a good Superman movie, but I don't think it's going to be for me. And it's mostly has to do with just James Gunn's style. Like I said, I like the Guardians films, but they've never been my favorite. They're not, they don't even make a top 10 personally for me in the MCU. At least I don't think they do, but James Gunn has the ability to take characters you don't care about and make you care about them. And if there's a character that has been ragged, like, more than Superman, like, he's too powerful, how can you write good stories, he's so boring, he's too good. If there's a person I trust to make the general audience care about Superman again, it's James Gunn. He's proven that he can do that with characters nobody cares about. But this is a big task. Superman means a lot of things to a lot of people. Superman was the first superhero. He has a legacy of fans. Like, when we watch Superman, we're watching our grandparents' superhero, like, basically. You understand? Like, this means so much to so many people. And that's why hearing the Christopher Reeve theme, like, got me. Like, when he's down in that crater and that civilian comes and helps him out, and you hear the music, it was just like, there's no better theme than that. I love the Man of Steel theme. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But there's only one Superman theme, and it's that John Williams score. And this movie has to appeal to a whole range of Superman fans. It has to appeal to the comic book fans, the general audience, and those who grew up watching the Christopher Reeve film Superman. It also has to appeal to the Snyderverse fans, and that's really tough because, I loved Henry Cavill. In fact, it was really sad when I found out he wouldn't be returning. But, when I saw the teaser for this trailer yesterday, I was like, that looked like some Man of Steel level action, which is one of the main reasons I think a lot of people love Man of Steel, was because it finally gave us a Superman action, live action, that we've never seen before. And Henry Cavill was just kind of perfect for the character. But David, he was my pick for the new Superman. I was like, I hope he gets the role. And when he got it, I said, that's perfect. And that pick, I believe, has been shown to be justified. I think he understands the character. I think he embodies it very, very well. Like, when he was on screen, I was like, that's Superman. And that felt good. The costume, it's not my favorite, but it looked good in this trailer. It looked good. And I think it'll look good in the movie. But I prefer the traditional outfit. I definitely don't like the collar. I just think the collar is unnecessary. The New 52 comic books, when they introduced the collar, I was like, the suit is almost perfect. Just get rid of that collar. I just don't like it. But yeah, I'm excited. I know that those thoughts were really scattered, but I'm really happy with what I've seen. I'm looking forward to the future. And who knows? This could be a hit. And if it's a hit, we could be eating real good as DC fans again. It's been a long, long time. And you know what? I don't want any disrespect to Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder created a DC universe. It wasn't the DC universe I wanted, but I was able to get on board with it. I was like, yeah, that's not the Superman that I would prefer, but the whole plan was for Henry Cavill Superman to grow into the Superman that we all know and love. And I wish I could have seen that come to be. But the darkness and everything, it was epic, it was awesome, but I had to sacrifice my comic book accurate preference for the brightness and the colorful DC characters, especially with Superman. But I was willing to get on board, and when I got on board, we were eating real good. Like, I love Zack Snyder's Justice League. I thought it was excellent. I liked the Snyderverse. But this time, what I'm being promised as a longtime Superman fan, from the TV shows to the comic books to the cartoons, everything, that this is going to be the Superman, the quintessential Superman. And you know what? If that's what James Gunn's going to do, then I'm on board. If I'm going to get the DC universe as I've been reading in the comics for so long, that I've known and loved, I'm ready for that. I'm excited for that. I can't wait for that. I'm just so ready. I'm just so ready to enjoy this movie. But the movie's not out. I could still be disappointed. I want to actually try to tamper my expectations. Right now, I think I'm in for a good ride. And that's all I'm asking for. Anyway, this is Trailer Talk with Tyrus. God bless. Catch you next time.
Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you can get more video content from Twyne&TheVine. And remember, I'd like to hear your thoughts, so please make a comment down below. God bless and catch you next time.